I rise today to point out that the Federal Communication Commission is voting today, perhaps this morning, to begin the process to roll back a regulatory framework that should never have been imposed on broadband service providers in the first place. Like many of my colleagues, I'm glad the FCC is working to restore the light touch regulatory framework that has allowed the Internet to thrive since its creation. This action sets the stage for Congress to then put a legislative solution in place that strikes the right balance between providing regulatory oversight on the one hand and giving the broadband industry the flexibility it needs to innovate and expand on the other hand. We should not rely on a classification that was devised during the Depression era. There should be 21st century rules for 21st century technology. As chairman of the Senate subcommittee that oversees Internet issues, I look forward to the task ahead. Keeping the Internet free and open is a goal shared by most of us and by many of my friends on the other side of the aisle. A bipartisan solution can help provide long-term certainty for both consumers and broadband providers. This certainty will be essential to our efforts to close the digital divide and remove barriers to Internet connectivity that exist in Mississippi and around the United States. The online experience we enjoy today and the revolutionary advances of the Internet over the past quarter century did not happen because of the heavy hand of the federal government. These advances happened because the federal government stayed out of the way, supporting a light touch regulatory framework where innovation, competition, and investment could truly survive and thrive. This was the framework that existed under both Republican and Democratic administrations until 2015, when politics got in the way. With a party line vote, the FCC that year decided to adopt a utility-style framework, as I said, resulting from legislation devised during the Depression. It classified broadband service as a common carrier under Title II of the Communications Act of 1934. A utility-style framework for telephones may have worked during the Bell telephone monopoly of the Depression era, but that does not mean it is a right fit now. Nor does it mean we should adopt a completely hands-off regulatory approach, which I would also oppose. The goal of net neutrality, which is designed to prevent Internet providers from prioritizing some legal content over others, has not gone away. But we know that handing over broad control of the Internet to Washington is also not the answer. FCC Chairman Ajit Pai has outlined some of the reasons for this, including the impact of Title II regulations on big and small Internet service providers. If we do not give providers the confidence to invest in better services and better infrastructure, it could limit consumers' options and services. This could also affect our efforts to close the digital divide, to bring the digital world to our rural communities in Alabama and Mississippi, Mr. President. Underserved communities could remain underserved. Without broadband access, these communities could lose out on critical jobs, economic development, and many other opportunities born out of the thriving Internet economy. At the end of the day, we need to be asking, what do Americans want and what do Americans need? They need broadband that is accessible, affordable, fast, and reliable. They want to be able to choose the services and content that best meets their needs. These are the priorities that need to be kept in mind as the FCC works today and as lawmakers work to strike a balance between regulatory oversight and free market productivity.